China hides landscapes that look like they were designed by imagination rather than geology. A country with more than 9 million square kilometers of land somehow still manages to keep entire natural worlds hidden from global attention. Mountains that glow red at sunrise, forests made entirely of stone, lakes that change color like living creatures. The strange part is that many travelers visit the famous cities and never realize these places exist. But the deeper you go into the remote corners of the country, the more China begins to feel like a giant open-air museum of natural wonders. Some of these landscapes took hundreds of millions of years to form, shaped by ancient seas, volcanic pressure, and the slow movement of continents. Others are so unusual that scientists once struggled to explain how they could even exist. The journey in this video moves far away from crowded tourist routes and into places that feel almost mythical. By the end, some of these landscapes might feel less like destinations and more like scenes from another planet. Zhangye landform. At first glance, the mountains of Zhangye look like someone spilled giant buckets of paint across an entire mountain range. Waves of red, orange, yellow, and deep purple stretch across the hills in layers that almost appear unreal. These colors were not created by minerals overnight. Over 24 million years ago, layers of sandstone and minerals began stacking on top of each other while tectonic forces slowly pushed the Earth upward. Wind and rain then carved the landscape into flowing shapes that resemble frozen waves of color. The result is one of the most visually surreal landscapes on Earth, where every ridge looks like a piece of abstract art. Sunrise and sunset completely transform the scenery, with the colors becoming more vibrant as sunlight hits the mineral layers at low angles. Scientists once thought formations like this were extremely rare, yet Zhangye became one of the most dramatic examples ever discovered. Standing on the viewing platforms, it becomes clear why photographers travel across continents to capture just one frame here. The mountains look soft and fluid, but they are solid rock shaped by millions of years of patience from nature. Shilin Stone Forest. Deep in the Yunnan region lies a forest that looks nothing like a forest. Instead of trees, towering limestone pillars rise from the ground like jagged stone blades pointing toward the sky. The Shilin Stone Forest began forming around 270 million years ago when the entire area was submerged beneath a shallow sea. Over time, limestone deposits hardened and later geological uplift exposed them to air. Rainwater slowly dissolved the softer parts of the rock, leaving behind these sharp vertical formations that now stretch across hundreds of square kilometers. Walking through the narrow pathways between these pillars feels like wandering through a maze built by nature itself. Some formations resemble animals, towers, or frozen waves, and local legends claim they were once warriors turned to stone. The forest is so dense in some areas that sunlight barely reaches the ground, creating an atmosphere that feels both ancient and mysterious. Even scientists studying the site admit that the sheer scale of the formations makes the landscape difficult to fully comprehend from photographs alone. Zhujiagu Valley. Hidden in the mountains of Sichuan province, Zhujiagu Valley feels like a place where water itself becomes the main artist. The valley contains more than 100 lakes, each glowing with shades of turquoise, emerald, and deep blue that almost seem artificially colored. The secret behind these intense colors lies in mineral-rich water combined with calcium carbonate deposits on the lake floors, which reflects sunlight in unusual ways. The clarity of the water is so extreme that fallen tree trunks resting deep underwater remain visible for decades without decaying. Waterfalls cascade between the lakes in multiple tiers, forming curtains of white foam against thick alpine forests. During autumn, the surrounding mountains explode with red and gold foliage, reflecting across the glass like lake surfaces and creating scenes that resemble a living painting. Zhujiagu also sits within a protected nature reserve that supports rare wildlife such as giant pandas and golden snub-nosed monkeys. Visitors often arrive expecting beautiful lakes, but the valley delivers something far more immersive, where every turn along the wooden walkways reveals another impossible shade of water. Tianzi Mountains. The Tianzi Mountains rise like an army of stone pillars emerging from a sea of mist. Thousands of narrow sandstone columns shoot straight up from the forest floor, some reaching heights of more than 1,000 meters. These formations were created through millions of years of erosion, where softer rock layers gradually disappeared and left behind these towering natural skyscrapers. When morning fog drifts through the valleys, the pillars appear to float above the clouds, giving the entire landscape a dreamlike quality. This surreal scenery later inspired the floating mountains seen in the film Avatar, drawing global attention to the region. From certain viewpoints, the peaks stretch endlessly toward the horizon, forming one of the most dramatic mountain panoramas in Asia. Vegetation clings to the tops of many pillars, creating tiny ecosystems perched high above the ground. The sense of vertical scale here is difficult to grasp until standing at the edge of a cliff and watching the clouds move between the stone columns like slow-moving rivers. Huanglong Pools. In the northern part of Sichuan, Huanglong reveals a series of natural terraces filled with glowing pools of mineral water. These pools cascade down a mountain slope like steps made from liquid jade and sapphire. The terraces formed when calcium carbonate from mineral springs slowly accumulated over thousands of years, building natural dams that trapped crystal-clear water in hundreds of shallow basins. Each pool reflects different shades of blue, green, and gold, depending on mineral concentration and sunlight angle. During certain times of the day, the entire valley appears to shimmer, as if the water itself is illuminated from beneath the surface. Surrounding forests and snow-capped peaks frame the terraces, adding even more contrast to the already vivid colors. Scientists often compare Huanglong to other famous travertine landscapes around the world, yet the density and arrangement of pools here make the area feel uniquely intricate. Walking along the wooden paths reveals new patterns and reflections in every direction, turning a simple mountain valley into a constantly shifting mosaic of water and light. Canis Lake. Near the northern borders of China lies Canis Lake, a remote alpine lake surrounded by dense forests and rugged mountains. The lake stretches more than 40 kilometers in length and is known for its mysterious ability to change color throughout the year. Depending on mineral content, algae growth, and sunlight reflection, the water can appear deep blue, dark green, or even milky turquoise within a single season. The region also carries one of China's most famous natural legends. For decades, stories have circulated about a giant lake creature occasionally appearing on the surface, sparking comparisons to the Loch Ness legend. While scientists attribute these sightings to large fish or optical illusions created by waves, the mystery continues to attract curious visitors. The surrounding Altai Mountains add dramatic scenery, especially during autumn when forests turn bright gold. Isolation has helped preserve the wilderness around the lake, making the environment feel far removed from modern cities. Mount Sanking. Mount Sanking stands as one of the most striking granite landscapes in eastern China. The mountain range is filled with dramatic rock formations that rise above clouds like ancient sculptures. Wind and erosion have shaped the granite peaks into unusual shapes that resemble human figures, animals, and mythical creatures. Some formations balance precariously on narrow bases, appearing almost too delicate to remain standing. Despite their fragile appearance, these rocks have survived millions of years of storms and shifting weather. The area is also rich with biodiversity, hosting rare plant species that thrive in the misty mountain climate. Sunrise at Mount Sanking reveals one of its most impressive sights as clouds roll across the valleys and sunlight illuminates the peaks from behind. The contrast between golden light and drifting fog transforms the landscape into a constantly evolving scene. Wulong Karst National Geology Park. Beneath the surface of southern China lies an underground world carved by water and time. Wulong Karst National Geology Park features enormous limestone bridges, deep sinkholes, and vast cave systems formed through centuries of erosion. The three natural bridges are among the most impressive structures in the park, with massive stone arches spanning valleys like ancient gateways. These natural bridges were formed when cave roofs collapsed, leaving behind towering rock spans that now dominate the landscape. Sunlight filtering through the openings creates dramatic beams that illuminate the greenery below. The park also includes enormous sinkholes known as tiankengs, some large enough to contain entire forests within their walls. So these geological formations provide scientists with valuable insight into how water gradually shapes limestone terrain. Visitors walking through the park often feel as if they have entered a hidden world tucked beneath towering cliffs. Mount Kailash. Mount Kailash stands in the remote Tibetan plateau and holds spiritual significance for multiple religions. The mountain rises to a height of more than 6,600 meters and has one of the most symmetrical pyramid shapes found in nature. Unlike many famous peaks, no climber has ever reached its summit due to its sacred status among local cultures. For thousands of years, pilgrims from across Asia have traveled to this mountain to complete a ritual journey around its base, believing the path brings spiritual renewal. The landscape surrounding Kailash is stark and dramatic, with icy rivers, barren plateaus, and towering cliffs dominating the horizon. Despite its remote location, the mountain continues to attract explorers, photographers, and spiritual travelers who are drawn to its mysterious presence. The Reed Flute Cave. Beneath the city of Guilin lies a cave system that feels almost otherworldly. The Reed Flute Cave extends hundreds of meters underground and contains towering stalactites, stalagmites, and stone columns formed over hundreds of thousands of years. Mineral deposits dripping from the cave ceiling slowly created these formations drop by drop, eventually building structures that resemble frozen waterfalls and stone curtains. Natural chambers inside the cave are so large that they resemble underground cathedrals. Colored lighting now highlights the formations, revealing textures and shapes that were hidden in darkness for centuries. Ancient inscriptions discovered near the entrance show that travelers have been visiting the cave for more than 1,000 years. The name reed flute comes from the reeds growing outside the cave, which locals once used to craft musical instruments. Tianqi, Heavenly Lake. High in the mountains of the Changbai Range sits a lake that looks like it belongs in the sky rather than on Earth. Tianqi Heavenly Lake formed inside the crater of an ancient volcano, and the moment the clouds clear, the view becomes almost unreal. The lake rests at an altitude of more than 2,000 meters, surrounded by steep volcanic walls that create a massive natural bowl filled with crystal blue water. During winter, the surface freezes into a sheet of ice, thick enough to look like polished glass. While in summer, the lake reflects deep shades of sapphire against the dark volcanic rock. The area carries centuries of legends about mysterious creatures living beneath the water, and although scientists have explored the lake repeatedly, its extreme depth and cold temperature still keep parts of it unexplored. The contrast between quiet water and the dramatic volcanic cliffs gives Tianqi a powerful presence that makes visitors feel like they are standing inside the remains of a sleeping giant. Detian Waterfall. On the border between China and Vietnam lies one of the largest transnational waterfalls in the world, a place where nature creates a wall of roaring white water surrounded by lush green hills. A Detian waterfall spreads across multiple tiers, stretching more than 200 meters wide as water pours over limestone cliffs and crashes into turquoise pools below. During the rainy season, the waterfall becomes even more powerful, transforming into a massive curtain of water that fills the valley with mist and thunderous sound. Bamboo forests and karst mountains frame the landscape, creating a scene that looks almost cinematic from every angle. Small wooden rafts often float near the base of the falls, giving visitors a close view of the immense water flow and the fine mist rising into the air. What makes Detian particularly unique is the way two countries share the same natural spectacle, with the waterfall acting as a dramatic boundary carved by the river itself. Taklamakan Desert far in western China lies one of the most extreme and mysterious landscapes in Asia, the Taklamakan Desert. Known as one of the largest shifting sand deserts on the planet, this enormous sea of dunes stretches across more than 300,000 square kilometers. Some dunes rise over 300 meters high, constantly reshaped by powerful desert winds that move the sand like waves across an endless ocean. For centuries, the desert gained a reputation among ancient traders as a place where entire caravans could disappear within its vast emptiness. Yet despite its harsh conditions, the Taklamakan played a crucial role in the history of the Silk Road, where travelers navigated its edges while transporting silk, spices, and precious goods between civilizations. Today, modern highways cut across sections of the desert, revealing an environment that feels both intimidating and mesmerizing at the same time. Golden dunes extend toward the horizon in every direction, creating a landscape so vast that it seems to erase the boundary between land and sky. Share in the comments which destination amazed you the most and which one should appear in the next episode. Subscribe to the channel for more hidden wonders from around the world, because the next part of this series reveals even more places that look almost too incredible to be real.